Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. Welcome to the DJ Dani Show on Hamilton Radio Stream HR1. I'm your host, DJ Dani. What is all the background focus? Is that me?
It might be me.
I'm so sorry. It's so weird for me because I'm like, I keep hearing echoes. I'm so excited to have you here today, Kat. Everybody knows you. I want to say, for being a global swim suit designer, and especially with your best-selling author book that you also had promoted, and it's out there that we're going to be talking about later in the show. I'm so excited to have you here. I can't wait to talk about body empowerment, how us women empowerment in general, and just have a good time, like we were talking a little bit off air as well. It's hard for us to go shopping for bathing suits. We have situations and we deal with situations when we're out there where it's kind of like, you're shopping. It's hard. Sometimes you can't find the right size. Sometimes it doesn't fit you right. Sometimes it's not what you like. And then it's also the price, right? The price kills us. Like, I have to wait for sale. Like, I can't purchase when it comes out right away. So I want to talk about that a little bit more with yourself. Before we get started with that, why don't we get started from the beginning with yourselves? Where did you ever get the idea for being a swimsuit designer? It's amazing.
Well, first, thank you for having me here. And Doc G, great to see you. Your arm.
So I didn't want to take from you guys.
No, you're fine.
It's okay. It's okay. You know I love you. So it started off really young. I was born in Hawaii, and so I was around tropical weather all the time. I probably haven't owned a jacket, growing up, right, until I moved to California. And I've always loved art. I grew up drawing, painting. I wanted to be a lawyer or an artist growing up. That literally was like artist or lawyer. And when we moved to California, my mom worked in textiles. And that's how I got exposed to that whole world of fabrics. So I would walk to school, wait for her to take me home. And I was around this huge location where they sold fabrics and trims and catalogs. Like Vogue catalogs. I would spend so much time looking at all the different dresses, and they sold patterns. So that was really cool because it was geared for people who wanted to make their own, home goods or clothing. And I learned how to sew when I was 13. So from hand sewing to machine sewing, I started making my own things. Little by little, I would start off with a bag or clothing. And the reason being is, and I still am like this, I don't like things that are too trendy.
Okay.
I wanted to embrace my uniqueness. And because we didn't have a lot of money to always buy the Nike or whatever was happening back then,
the brands. Yep.
I was like, let me be unique, and then it doesn't matter how much it costs. It's just going to be cool for me. So that's how I embrace originality. And then fast forward, my mom, who worked with designers, she worked with designers in the textile industry. And she had this designer named Randy, he was amazing. He was like a couture dress designer who would make wedding gowns and pageant gowns for women in that were running for Miss San Diego or Miss Philippines. And he was so sought out that because of her connection, I used to co-design my dresses with him.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
So imagine this junior high, teenager who would go to the sweetheart dance, and I had a custom dress from this amazing designer. We would co-design it together. I'd choose the fabrics. He would measure me. So at a very young age, I knew how to measure bodies. And he customized the fit. It was amazing because I'm petite. I'm like, if I bought a dress off the shelf, it would not fit. It would be too long or something like that.
The dresses out on the shelves, I think they're meant to look like that to make us break down. have that type of situation. Exactly, right? Because isn't that type of like the manufacturer would do? It'd be more of like I feel like they would personally do that for either us to break down or us to find something similar, or something if we can't afford it, you have to go to something else. But there's a lot of ways out there with that.
Yes, and if they cut corners on fitting, it's never going to fit right. So a size 8 on one brand is not going to be the same size in another brand, or even the same collection.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. And numbers are all different too, right?
Exactly.
Depending on body sizes, depending on our measurements, because, somebody can have like a small breast compared to like a big butt, and that all affects the sizes,
Absolutely.
So you have to incorporate that when you're also designing.
Yes, that is correct.
So tell me a little bit about getting more into designing for yourself. I know you were creating like dresses. Were you having a lot of fun with it? Did you ever have feels where maybe you got overwhelmed, you couldn't complete something, and then you come back to it?
All the time. So growing up, I would stay up even past 2 a.m. just so I can make the outfit to wear the next day. Oh. And in high school one year, I made my friends costumes, and it was like the most amazing thing. I'm like such a giver at heart. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make you a clown costume. I'm going to be Catwoman. And it was just such a fun time, and everything that I did, I didn't know how to make patterns. Like it was all like just on the fly.
Like more stitch work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because when I was a couple years ago, I actually did a lot of sewing as well with my machine sewing machine we had. And I even went to a class, I think in junior high, for like a camp college. And I learned how to do hair ties. I learned how to make hair scrunchies. Can still do that, but I have nails, so it's harder to do a little needle.
Right? Yeah.
Or just hold a needle. I'm supposed to hand sew sometimes for Chris, and I can't hold a needle, so he'll get a jacket from me or something sometime. But when I had the opportunity to do that, I was actually very, very scared of the machine. Now, I don't know, with you being so confident and know what you're doing now, you're, excited and love doing it. Were you ever like, scared, like worried? I'm so scared when I touch it because I'm so like, it's scary. It's like you can pulling fabric, like you can get a needle in your hand. Like it's
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you overcome that fear as well? Just getting started in the industry.
Well, so growing up, when I learned how to use a sewing machine, I felt actually much more comfortable sewing on the floor. Okay. Which is very strange, right? So
I never heard that. Yeah.
My sewing machine would be on the floor, and I would sit next to it. And that's how I learned how to sew. And I'm much more comfortable with that than on a table. I mean, now I can sew with the machine on the table, but it can be scary. I've had a lot of needles break, and when there's too many layers, the needle will break, and like that can go into your eye. So I feel like that's scarier for me than me sewing my finger.
Okay, that is definitely scary. The vision.
Yes, exactly.
Big part of it.
Yeah.
But when you had a chance to just start sewing small, accessible things, whether they were tote bags or purses, I know, like being young and stuff, did you ever like show them off? Did you ask friends, like, do you want me to make you one, or stuff like that? Because you're so excited, right? You're very thankful about what your creations that you could create.
All the time. I had friends asking me to make them things all the time.
I love that.
I think when I was pressed for time, I used to use a hot glue on my clothes.
I'm sure.
Don't touch me. It might fall apart. It's held with glue.
But you know what? It was the beginning, right? It was the beginning process for this.
Yes.
So shortly after learning how to do a lot of designs and sewing, where did swimsuits come involved?
So when I went to design school, I actually wanted to design sportswear.
Okay.
I was young. I'm like, I want to design things that I'd like to wear. So my portfolio consisted of the theme in the music industry. So we had to pick something. I didn't really know any better back then, right? So the theme was the music industry, and choosing fabrications, I had orange fur, patent leather, black patent leather, metallics, and my sketches, there was one page where I had the models with handcuffs as accessories.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know that that was the portfolio I was going to use to go try to get a job. So imagine being at an interview at a dress company or wherever, and they're flipping through this portfolio that has like some wild, strappy leather, very sexy. And then they come across a page of handcuffs. The expression on their face is always priceless, but I ended up interning at a dress company. I couldn't stand it. The company was huge. It was not personable. And then my counselor was like, try this swimwear company. So I did. And at the time, I didn't wear a lot of swimwear, but it was one of the biggest swimwear manufacturers. They manufactured for, Walmart and Victoria's Secret and a lot of very big names.
Okay.
And that was supposed to be my foot in the door. I loved it so much. I stayed, and I've been in the swimwear industry for 25 years.
That's beautiful. But the first company that you were with, per se, what did you feel was, you just didn't feel like it was like home? Like it was a dress company. So was it like all types of dresses, like including wedding dresses, or was it like just like a Windsor where it's like all different types of dresses?
Yeah, exactly. Like casual dresses, fun dresses, kind of like a Windsor. I mean, their warehouse was so huge and intimidating, but because the sportswear industry and that world, it's such a faster pace than swimwear that you don't even really get to enjoy like creating. And I'm really glad that I stayed in swimwear, because when I had friends that came from that world, they would be at the office and work till 1 a.m. creating like screen printed t-shirts. And I was like, oh, I'm really glad I never lived through that one.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
With swimwear, technically, you just always have new designs out for the next summer.
Pretty much.
That's usually what you guys get to plan. So you have the whole winter to plan that, the whole winter and spring, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
We develop about almost a year in advance.
Okay.
And the misconception around the swimwear industry is we only design for like a small window, but we're actually constantly developing all year long, because the way a lot of the companies that I've worked at is we come from a manufacturing standpoint. So design and manufacturing basically from scratch. And I've been really blessed to be able to have that experience, because we buy art from all over the world, original art. We work with graphic designers, textile artists. We get to choose the fabrics. I've had the pleasure of designing fabrics, like amazing fabrics. And I've gone to visit the fabric manufacturers, like whether it's overseas or in Canada. We had an amazing supplier out of Canada. And these machines are huge just for one thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Amazing. Yeah, it sounds like a dream, but it also sounds like something that's like really exciting to do. Like, you love your job, you look forward to it every day. You can't wait to change it up or do something different. And plus, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there tons and tons of fabrics also coming out like every day? Like, they create more fabrics or more materials in order for you to use and rekindle with?
Yes, they do. There's a lot of suppliers that are constantly coming up with new innovation. I've gone to fabric shows in Paris. And what's really cool about some of those shows, they don't really do that anymore because everything's scaling back, is the swimwear and the intimate apparel show would be the same location. And I remember this fabric where it would smell like strawberries, smell like peaches or flowers. And that was more on the intimate apparel side, because for swimwear, it doesn't make sense that your swimsuit smells like strawberries, but
yeah,
just such amazing technology that I've witnessed.
That's beautiful. I think that's amazing, that because you're a part of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's more of, you get to design and create all the time.
Yes.
Now, what is your swimwear line called?
So I'm VP of design for a company, and we have a lot of different brands. So We have Tahari, BCBG Max Azria, BCBG Generation, Caribbean Joe, Nautica. Nautica is a really big one. And then we also have private brands, that we customize for certain stores.
Okay.
Now, Nautica is interesting because I started with another company 20-something years ago, and I ended up being the designer for that. But full circle at this new company, I'm now like VP of design, and I'm like, wow, the logo hasn't changed in 20-something years.
For Nautica?
Yeah. It's really cool because it's iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was something that you had started with in the beginning as well, and you didn't know you were going to come back to it. So
no, not at all. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So a little bit more about your clothing line. What types of styles do you guys normally have, or shapes and sizes?
We have all types of shapes and sizes. And from my experience, my experience is mainly premium brands.
Okay.
So it's using better quality fabrics, a lot more styling. The construction is very different, and that goes into the suits. So anywhere from like super sexy or a little bit more conservative and sporty. I've had designs that's been featured in Sports Illustrated, had a lot of features and offerings in Victoria's Secret, and all over like different retailers.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And a lot of celebrities as well, right? They also be wearing them, whether it's a certain type of brand, or does it come specifically from you?
It depends on the celebrity and the opportunity. So, for example, many years ago, Paris Hilton was off the coast of like Italy or something wearing one of my designs, and it was like such a cool surprise. Serena Williams was wearing one of my yellow suits for her shoot for Sports Illustrated. Oh, wow. And we customized some suits for her. So we like rushed it through the sample room, gave her like this big assortment. So she ended up choosing that one. And what was really cool is she actually took it home. And we didn't know that she took it home. And then she announced her baby bump, like her pregnancy, wearing my suit on her Snapchat. Yeah, so that was cute.
That's adorable because that was your promotion.
Yes.
And you didn't know about it. Now, how did you know? Did you like see it on her Snapchat, or did somebody contact you and tell you?
Our team saw it. Our team saw the marketing team, and they contacted us. But yeah, so I saw that photo, and then I've met a lot of different celebrities. One of my favorite ones were Christy Brinkley. So I grew up with her being this iconic supermodel. And then she came to our office, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you are so gorgeous. Like years later, she's so gorgeous. And she's so sweet. So that was a really cool moment.
See, it's a fun experience when you get to design clothes because you never know who's going to come in, especially swimsuits. Because I'm sure, you have a lot of people maybe reaching out to you, whether it's for a photo shoot or a magazine cover or stuff like this and that. Now, do you ever have someone like rushing you, or do you have to do a timeline with any designs that are in the process of being created or have already been created? And
all the time. All the time.
Where's the stress-free in this?
Yeah. So in my previous company, we had an in-house sample room. So we had a lot of different sewers. So we would cut and sew in-house for samples. And that's how we were able to turn garments around so quick. And internally, we were like a big family. So I would always pull strings. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Okay, I need this rush. I need it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we always pull through. But now it's harder. It's harder if you don't have an in-house sample room. You have to send it overseas. You have to rush them, shipping time, and with all this crazy stuff happening. It's harder. It's harder to turn things around much quicker. And the domestic manufacturers, the domestic sample rooms even, they're dwindling, especially with the pandemic that happened and a lot of businesses shutting down, and even suppliers from a fabric standpoint.
Yeah, it's affecting everyone for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you, how do you think the pandemic has affected your business?
So thankfully, 2 years ago when it happened, a lot of companies were closing their doors or holding their breath, not manufacturing anything new. And I had just started with this particular company a few months before the pandemic happened. And because the company believed in our team, we pushed forward. And thankfully we did that because we had new designs. We did photo shoots still. We did virtual photo shoots with a model who was married to a photographer in Miami. That's how we did the photo shoot. So we did it through Zoom, made that happen, manufactured our goods. And then in November of 2020, the orders were so tiny. We were like, who are we shipping to? And then spring break happened. And then everybody started buying swimsuits. We couldn't keep certain things in stock. And our business has been growing ever since. So we're all really thankful for the business that we have and the fact that we really didn't lose much
during the pandemic. So it was like a hard process in the beginning a little bit, but then it also was like you guys all pulled through and, you know, you made it and you grew from it.
Right.
That process as well.
Yes.
Now, Kat, a big part of you being a swimsuit designer, what is your motto? What is behind it?
My motto?
Yes.
Well, I always think of the end consumer, and that's the women that are buying the swimsuits. See, when you come from the design and manufacturing side, you have the gatekeepers of the buyers when you're selling to department stores. So depending on what they're looking for their accounts or what they're feeling the trends are, they can shut out such amazing ideas. So you always have to try, you always have to push forward and be innovative because there's nothing worse than when buyers say your line looks predictable or they don't like it. And that's happened many times.
Sure, yeah.
Just from experience, and because we were so resourceful, we would turn around a whole new collection in a week. We're like, all right, you didn't like this? Here's another one. So you develop really thick skin when you're in this type of industry. I mean, you guys know you're in the music industry too, right? You might cry, but you're going to keep singing your song and keep making your music. But I always keep the end consumer in mind. I love speaking with women because women are so diverse and you have to be able to offer what it is that they're looking for. So one of the most beautiful things, and it happens pretty often, are I'll get tapped and women will say, you need to design suits that are like for mastectomy suits. And I'm like, oh, there are mastectomy suits out there. Mm-hmm. So perhaps they just don't know where to find it. So I will help them locate certain resources or stores, retailers online that sell mastectomy suits. But because women have different age, different body types, you can't assume that a fuller woman wants to be fully covered.
Correct.
Right? Because she might be like proud of how she looks and want to show it out there. Or a thinner woman, more petite, who's like maybe a size 2 or a 4, that she's super body confident, because I've spoken to women of all sizes. And normally they get really excited that they're meeting a designer. And then the next thing that comes out of their mouth is, let me tell you why I can't wear that. Or the last time I bought a swimsuit was 5 years ago, etc. Yeah.
And how does that make you feel when you're speaking with people and maybe they tell you, you know, that it's hard for them to wear a swimsuit? Or how can I get that confident? How can you help me, Kat? What would you say?
So it normally turns into a mini therapy session.
Okay.
So I go into mom mode.
I didn't know you were a mom. See?
I am. I have a daughter. She's turning 16 next month.
Oh my God. She's a teenager.
She's a teenager. Really good teenager, thank goodness. But yeah, I'm definitely a lot older than I look. Thank goodness for the genes. But I know, I think people assume that I'm like a teenage mom with a 16-year-old. I'm like, no, much older than you think.
Definitely look like you're in your 30s. So
thank you. So normally when women come to me and, you know, point out all their flaws, I have to remind them there is a reason why we make a lot of different styles and we make a lot of different sizes, right? So we make the smaller sizes to the plus sizes because it's meant for you. And I normally like to walk them through, well, what are you looking for? And then we talk through that. I met a woman who told me that when her kids were growing up, she would take them to the beach but never wore a swimsuit because she was so body conscious.
Oh,
I know.
I hope you got her a swimsuit.
I did.
Okay.
I did. But she feels confident now while she's much older. So it's so interesting the mindset cycles that women go through, right? So when we're younger, you know, you have the very confident 20-year-olds and then you have the super conscious 20-year-olds.
Yes, but it's also, Kat, because of our generation out there.
True.
There's so many people that are skinny or, you know, older or anything like that, where everybody wants to look the same.
Yes.
Right now. And it's the hardest thing because it's impossible. You're yourself. You can't change anything unless you spend thousands and thousands of dollars on surgery and plastic.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. So I think the fact is, even with your swimsuit line, you're showing other people that they don't have to be someone else. They can stay themselves.
Exactly.
It's very, very hard because with different swimsuit lines, compared to like you shop at like Forever 21 or Victoria's Secret, like you were mentioning before, when you try on their stuff, it just doesn't feel right. To me, sometimes it feels too cheap, and I'm scared it's gonna like rip off if I go in the ocean or something.
Right.
So you want to have good material, and you also want to feel comfortable in it. Like I want to make sure if I try on a bathing suit top or a bikini that it's a good fit. And I want to kind of also make sure like it's not too tight or anything, but I want to make sure like I look good in it. Like that's the key of why I'm buying it for number one. So that's a huge part of that industry.
A lot of women that are bigger busted, they want so much bust support, especially if you're natural. They don't sit where you want them to sit when they're natural, right? So
no, that's why I like padding.
Yeah, and it's so important for you to buy the right size, buy the right style. A lot of women don't even know what their bra size is or what their measurements are.
Correct. So how does one purchase from your line, or to make it a little obvious, how would one have a better idea of what size they are compared to your line? Is it fit like to size normally, like your original size, or is it like run bigger, smaller?
For our brands, they are normally true to size.
Okay.
We don't do vanity sizing. I'm not a big fan of vanity sizing. And, you know, like sometimes they change the style, the sizing to like a different, like 1 or 2 or 3. And you have to figure out, what does 1 mean? Right? So know your measurements. And the most important measurements is 3 things: your bust, your waist, and your lower hip. If you know those 3 things, you're good, because when you're shopping online, there's a lot of fit size guides that you can use, and sometimes they're off, but at least you kind of know. And for me, when I'm shopping in person, I actually don't shop a lot by size. It depends on the style.
Okay.
So, for example, I was in this boutique store once, and when it's a small shop, it's like regular sizes and then the plus sizes right next to it.
Yeah,
you know?
That's how boutique.
So, because I also like to do research, I'm like, all right, what do they have? What are they showing? What's cute? Is there anything for me? And I found myself in the plus size sometimes. I'm like, oh, this is cute. I'm like, oh, it's plus size. I can't wear this. But when I went to the dressing room, I found this dress. It's a floral dress. I tried it on. I was like, this looks so cute. I'm going to buy this. When I looked inside the label, it was like a 1X. It was a plus size top. that I was fitting into as a dress. Mm-hmm. And I ended up buying it anyway because why not? Like, it fit me. So I think women get hung up too much on, oh, well, I don't really want to buy a large. I'm a small.
Yeah.
But if you let go of that, if you like it, you like the way it fits, like, just buy it. It doesn't matter the size unless it's pants or, something like that.
Like a bigger fit. But the good part was, you had purchased a shirt that was actually a dress for you.
Exactly.
And you made it a dress, which is even better than a shirt because it'll last you longer.
Right.
So when you get the opportunities to just go out and shop, or do you also have to be the scout a little bit, part of in the industry? You have to go to different shops and see what's trending, what's going on. That's fun, is it not?
Yes. It's so much fun.
I love that.
Let me tell you, and where I love scouting for inspiration is in Europe.
Oh.
So, but you have to be pretty sly about that because they do not allow you to take photos. And they know, like, there's so many people from all over the world that will fly there for Fashion Week or, use their product as inspiration. So what I used to do, I would take the things that I liked into the dressing room.
And try them on.
And either try them on, well, I would both try them on, and then I would take all my photos in the dressing room. So I'd spend so much time in the dressing room.
That's what I do normally now. Yeah, when I go shopping.
Yeah.
So you actually did you ever deal with someone telling you? Like, or like they saw, really?
Yeah. So, well, if you get caught, they will say, no photos. And this swimwear industry, I mean, in any industry, there's a lot of men, right? So for many, many years, most of the sales reps in the swimwear industry were men. So imagine 20-year-old Kat. I'm like, where are all these men coming from selling swimsuits? It was very bizarre to me, but that was the fashion industry. Like, there was a lot of men that would sell. They would travel the country, etc. And so I used to shop with my male counterparts, like my merchandiser who was a man, who was VP, etc. And I'm like, okay, this is odd. Like, we can't pretend to be friends. He's, I'm trying to look at everything. He's trying to look at everything. So I was like, look, I don't want them to think we're a couple. You're shopping for your wife, okay? So we would do that whole thing, and it was a lot of fun. And I had a colleague that, like, for the life of him, couldn't figure out how to take a photo. So he would take videos. I'm like, your photos are blurry. You're taking video, and you're not even slick about it.
And the screenshotting, he probably couldn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun, but back to, women being intimidated about shopping for swimwear. Mm-hmm. It's also in the messaging with brands, right? Like, what's your messaging? How are you marketing your swimwear? And it's improving with the body positivity, body inclusivity. There were brands that would sell plus, but they would shoot on a size 6 model.
Yes. Yeah. So it's that type of stuff that's.
Yeah. It's such a disservice to, fuller figured women who is looking at a size 6 model and trying to picture herself in that suit. And that was happening for years.
Is it still happening in that industry?
A little bit.
Probably like on the plus side, like the back side of it.
Yeah.
But they do their best to hide it more or something.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes. They're doing a lot more plus photo shoots, which is great.
So how can one purchase from your line or one of your lines?
So right now, so we did a collaboration with Helen Owen. She's a big model influencer, and I actually have a link in my bio. So if you search me on Instagram and click on the link in my bio, so search Kat Oshman, that is the latest collection. And then we have new collections coming out in a few months for all the other brands. We're online. We're at other retailers as well, like across the country.
Now, can I get a little sneak peek of what kind of upcoming or what type of designs you have upcoming?
Oh, yes, of course. So I don't have anything ready to show, but I can describe some things for you, and then
that's what I meant. Yeah. I wasn't gonna say show it because I don't want you to like get in trouble or anything.
Yeah.
Even though it's, you know, you guys are all working together, I don't want you to be like, you show it by accident on a show and then like it becomes viral from the show or something.
Well, exactly. And you have to always be careful because I have a lot of friends in the industry that are also my competitors. So
yes, they like to
not share the secret sauce, right?
Yep.
And so skins are going to be really important, like zebra skins, python skins, wearing certain colors from head to toe, like all red with a cover up or swimsuit.
Okay.
Florals are always happening. So you have your small ditzy florals and your bigger tropicals. Tie-dyes, metallics are hot.
Mm-hmm.
And textures. Textures are happening all across the board. So different types of textures.
I also love so much when I'm looking at swimsuits, ruffles. A lot of people do that, but I like it more like the top than the bottom.
So ruffles are great because, so one of our favorite suits is this ruffle, like off the shoulder one piece.
Ooh.
I wear a lot of swimsuits as like regular clothing. I actually wore a swimsuit top and my cover up to a red carpet, which nobody would ever know.
That's beautiful. But technically it looks like a bodysuit, no?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you can get away with wearing a swimsuit as the bodysuit.
Exactly. Right. So what's great about ruffles is if you're smaller on the top, it adds volume.
Yes.
And then depending on where the ruffles are, it can hide, you know, like the wave. I call it the wave when a woman moves and she's trying to hide some of this action.
Yes, yeah, that, or like even at the bottom. I mean, sometimes a regular just solid design is gorgeous, but if there's a ruffle on it, I actually will purchase it.
I love ruffles.
Yeah, ruffles are very fun. I mean, you get to work with that type of stuff too, right?
Yeah.
You change it up all the time.
Now, I do.
Now, are you using real like skins?
What do you mean?
As to zebra, python, or is it like fake? Like, how do you work with that type of industry?
Oh, we work with prints. So we don't use real skin like leathers or anything like that. But like what you're wearing, a kind of like a cheetah leopard.
Yes.
We'll buy original designs from studios, like whether they're from London or Australia, get inspired by that, and then make it our own.
I think that's beautiful and exciting. Do you also, you said you work with prints, so you do like zebra, leopard, cheetah as well?
Yeah.
And they're always in style.
So one of my favorite things with skins, I love skins, is when they have the real animal, like the picture of the animals on the print. So like you see a tiger head or a panther going across, or like birds and parrots, and butterflies are really hot right now.
Okay. So
that's trending as well. Sometimes bugs, you know, like insects, they always look really cool, but I don't know how well they do.
I don't like bugs. I can't model that. I can model anything else you give me.
Yeah.
But I can't do anything with bugs. I mean, butterflies aren't too bad because I kind of have a butterfly necklace. But I mean, that's the only thing bug-wise I would wear. But I think it's just so fun and it's just elegant and so different. Especially your line compared to so many other lines that are out there. Like you said, competition-wise. You know, you get to go out and scout with your crew. And I think you live the life with that. I'll tell you that, because that sounds like that is the most fun experience. And I'm sure you probably get some ideas too.
Absolutely. And I love, like, you've seen me go to Hawaii back and forth so many times, especially the past few months. And even when I'm on the beach and I'm trying not to have like work on my mind, I can't help it. I'm constantly looking at women. What are they wearing, etc. And it's pretty cool when you see women wearing your designs. sometimes I go up to them, sometimes I don't. And I also know how old their suits are because I shop a lot of the competition. I was like, oh, she's wearing a 5-year-old suit and it still looks good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you would know from. How would you know it's your suit?
You know.
But like, so many people on the beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the competition out there, like the ones that are not wearing your suit and one person that is. Right. You would know that's your suit? Like, yeah, do you have much. Like a certain imprint or like an indent that you do? How would you know?
It's really rare because, of course, when we put out designs, other companies can knock it off.
Correct.
So
that's what I was going to say.
But they'll change the fabric, right? Like they'll normally pick a cheaper fabric. So you're like, oh, okay, it's my design, but a different fabric. That's not my suit.
Got it. So you could tell from that. That's amazing.
Yes.
Where did that come from? Was that just in the industry? Like you could just you open up to it and you can see it when people pass you by?
Yeah, I think just from so much experience and shopping the stores and knowing whose line it is, whether it's mine or it's not. Yeah, and the styling and the fabrics.
That's amazing, Kat. It really is.
Thank you.
I love everything that you're doing. And what I love the most is, even if it's just for a woman, it's the empowerment behind it. It's trying to show people that you can be comfortable in your own skin, as yourself, with a little bit of design, with a solid, or different, patterns and patches that you have, in your workspace as well.
Absolutely. One season with the whole, inclusivity movement with different skin color. And it was happening a lot in intimate apparel, like sport bras, shorts, etc. And I'm like, how about we do something for swimwear, different neutral, like skin tones. So I called it Show Me Your Nudes. And what that was supposed to do was, so she kind of looks like if she was naked from afar. Like that was the whole concept. Show me your nudes. So you shop for the swimsuit that looks closest to your skin. And we had like few different shades. But if you bought a different shade, like it still complemented your skin. So always having those ideas, pushing it out there. The brand that we were designing it for, they didn't love me calling it Show Me Your Nudes, so we did have to change it.
Okay. What did you change it to?
I can't remember. I will still forever call it Show Me Your Nudes.
Okay. Do you still have that as one of your part of under the brands as well?
Like it's a different brand now, yeah.
I think that's a beautiful idea because, like you said, you're doing the empowerment for the woman. And what's different about it is, well, funny at the same time, is people could be walking by and they might have to re-look while they walked by. I'm sorry, what did I just see? Oh, wait, no, she's wearing a bathing suit. All is good. Like your eyes are playing a trick on you kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, because, people do it sometimes with leggings or a top. You're like, oh, she is wearing pants.
Yeah, yes. And all the time, especially when we're driving. Do you ever just drive down the street and like by accident you're just like looking like a light or whatever's passing and the passenger next to you and like you just quickly look over, wait, what did I just see?
Yeah.
That type of thing where we have to double check to see what we saw to make sure it was correct or if we were, being
right. And it's more funny when they have like a little kid, they're holding a little kid's hand because, little kids say the darndest things. They're probably like, Mommy, are you wearing pants?
Oh, wow. Now, I wanted to know a little bit, this part of the show, if you could tell me some information about your book as well.
Okay, so my book was part of the One Habit series, and it was a collaboration with other different authors who are experts in their field. And it was One Habit of the World's Greatest Leaders. So what was beautiful about that collaboration was the leaders shared one good habit that they do in their business, career, etc. and then 1 bad habit. So when you pick up the book, I don't know about you, DJ Dani, but I love to read, but I love to read like empowerment books.
Okay.
But it also takes me forever to read one. Like I literally will read and then go back and then read and then go back because I'm also so busy.
Yeah.
But what's great about this book is you literally can feel complete by reading a few of the author's segments and be done with that idea, like whatever it is that they're talking about. So my segment was sharing the big picture with your team. I'm all about team building. I have an amazing A-team with me right now. And if you don't share the big picture vision, people don't understand why they're doing something, why it's critical that they're doing it. And then they also don't feel a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Versus task-driven managers or leaders that, okay, do this. And then it leaves people guessing. They don't feel like they're part of what's moving it forward and growth. So that's what I talk about in the book.
And what is the back end of it? How do you?
So the reverse of that is putting a lid on your team, not allowing your team to grow. So, kind of like keeping yourself at higher level and your team personnel or whether you own a business or you work for a company is putting a lid on your team. For me, I like to explain things. Like, this is why we're doing things with team meetings. I'm like, this is a big picture. This is why we're doing it. And then also mentoring them, teaching them so that they have the right and the confidence to say yes when they want to grow internally or externally.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is a huge learning experience as well.
Absolutely.
And that
one of my favorite thoughts from John C. Maxwell is never leave behind an empty seat. So leaders can come and go, but if they don't teach and pass on that succession to their team, they're leaving behind an empty seat.
That's beautiful.
She is your next leader. I'm telling you, she's got leadership qualities and materials. Not just because she's my daughter.
Oh, thank you.
But because she
something in my eye.
She really works hard at going where she's going, and that's why I told her to talk to you, because she is an amazing person.
Thank you.
Well, it's also in her DNA.
Well,
don't forget about that.
I learned from the best.
So
exactly.
I learned from the best.
Right.
I definitely do. I mean, even with me, just starting my show, I was born into this, I feel like I could say. But I had the opportunity when I was younger, 6, I guess you could say. He gave me an opportunity to have my own show. I was very, very young. I did not like to talk on the microphone. We played a couple of songs. It was like Disney Channel throwbacks, like High School Musical, Hannah Montana type of stuff. And he had given me the opportunity. When you get older, if you want to pursue or try to get in radio, let me know. I jumped on that when I was 18. Now, you have to be extremely professional to be in this business, which is extremely hard because you like to talk to get to know people. You have to remember who you're interviewing. You have to remember what the pinpoints are of the interview. So it's a huge learning process as well. But I started when I was 18 in 2014. I'm 24. So I've been doing this for, a couple of years. I have a manager now that's working with me, and I'm just building my career. I'm building my business.
I love that. I think you are such a great communicator, and you've learned that, right? I'm sure even just growing up, just hearing and through osmosis and the environment, you knew what building relationships were like.
Well, I love socializing and talking to people.
Yeah.
I could be at dinner with my family 10 minutes later, then I'm talking to the server and I won't let the server leave to go put the order in.
Right.
Like, it's that type of thing where it's just something that came so naturally for me. And it's not even because I'm very outgoing. It's more of just, it's something I love to do. Kat, my full-time job is a receptionist at an eyeglass place. And I love it so much that I do everything as well, like my show, you know, the bookings and everything. But it's the fact that I get the one-on-one connection with people.
Yes.
That is just the best thing in the world.
I love that you love that, because I'm the same way. I'm all about like human connection,
Yes.
one-on-one. We were at an event for our daughter's volleyball, and I connected with the guest speaker who was a coach and a mindset coach as well. And literally my family left and I was still talking to her. We were the last people in the building.
And that's what happens. That's
Yeah.
what happens. You get so excited and time flies by so quickly. You'll just be standing there till the doors close, like
Right.
until they kick you out. It
Yes.
always happens. And sometimes that's the best way to make connections, whether it's for your business or just social relationships.
Agree.
So, but as I did mention before, I am a model. So I model for Autism, the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation. We're actually doing a whole bunch of stuff for Christmas wise. They're just collecting money for a lot of sensory toys, and they're trying to get an iPad for one of the girls. I believe her name is Brooke, or they're trying to get her a service dog as well. So it's that type of stuff right now, donation wise, that we're looking to try to help and push out there. And then, you know, I'm waiting for the modeling industry to open up a little bit more because of the pandemic. But I either do photo shoots or, like I said, I did New York Fashion Week with Brand A, which is also the Autism Foundation as well. So any way I can help with a spectrum or just getting their name out there for that brand yourself as well, please let me know. I would love to. That's something that I love doing more than anything. And Chris can vouch for me that says that I love posting on social media more than anything in the world. So that's a big part of getting yourself out there.
Yeah, I love that you're doing that. I think it's so important. Something was just called on my heart too, that I was like, you know what, I need to help kids. And so I'm partnering with a local charity, a nonprofit that supports foster kids in the community. So my family and I will be buying, you know, toys and certain things that they need. And I also put it out to my Facebook. I'm like, if you want to help donate to this, let me know. But I'm like, the deadline's fast approaching, and I'm like, I need to go shopping. But it's so hard. It's so hard for families, you know, that continue to struggle. They cannot feed their family, and then they're also worrying about Christmas presents, or, you know, especially the teens. I think a lot of the little ones, people like to support the littles, but the teens get forgotten. So I'm going to try to focus on what their needs are.
It's a big part of, you know, just helping and reaching out as well.
Yes.
Another thing that I used to do when I was younger, whether it was in church, we had certain types of boxes that we had created. It was like on a Christmas tree, you pick two names, whether it was a boy or a girl. And there was a, like, their age, you know, what their shoe size is or anything. And you purchase supplies for them. So I know we did like shampoo, conditioner. I think we did toothpaste, toothbrush, flashlights, just all essentials that they don't need, that they don't have, that they need. And it was just that amazing, fun sensation, shopping for other people compared to myself, that I love doing. So when Christmas time comes and there's so many people that need, like, you know, like Toys for Tots or anything like that, I love doing that. That's only my one way to give back, because it's so hard to do that in this world. You know, there's not a lot of chances where you get a chance to give back. And when you give back for like Petco or any of the shelters and stuff, the money doesn't go to them. So how do you know if you're actually giving back?
Yeah, it's really hard. And I think we have to be more intentional about giving. You know, for example, last year, and I'm not one to post like, oh, and I did this random act of kindness today.
No, me neither. I mean, other people do.
Yeah. One of the things that really stuck out in my head last year was my husband and I were going to the store, and I'm like, I don't want to go to that store. Can we go here? He's like, no, we're already on our way. And I'm like, and we literally were like going back and forth. And he was adamant we had to go to the store. I said, fine. So we get in line, and it was like in the thick of COVID, it's 2020. And I started talking to this man. I looked in his car. I'm like, oh, that's really odd. Like, things that's in his cart. It's like really random. He had like 6 half gallons of orange juice plus a few other things. I'm like, what can one man do with so much orange juice? I'm like, oh, he's going to have a party, right? So I started talking to him, and he's like, oh, I'm driving up north to see my family. It was Christmas Eve.
Oh,
And
okay.
there was just something that kept telling me, pay for his cart.
Oh.
And so we get up to the counter, and I was like praying that my husband wouldn't be like, what are you doing? Like asking me all these questions. But I didn't want to make it obvious. And so I told the cashier, I'm like, we're going to pay for his cart. And she goes, oh, okay. And when the guy saw her like pulling his items, he's like, oh no, that's mine. We kept trying to reiterate, no, it's okay. Like, we're going to pay for your cart.
Yeah.
And the guy literally was about to cry in front of us. And
The grace.
he was shaking. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. And he's like, thank you. Like, no one's ever done this for me before. And it's just, I'm like, you know what? That's why we were meant to go to the store, even though I didn't want to.
Yeah. No, that's another reason. Like, you're being pulled to do other things.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know if Chris or my dad ever told you, but I kind of have a sixth sense where just I feel the need when I'm being pulled places as well, or I find out the reason why we're there. Like, it's so weird now. Because
Right.
when I was younger, I had it and I didn't know anything about it. But now getting older, it's like, oh, wow, that's why I went there. And, you know, I took care of this person or something
I
like
love
that.
that.
And it's the most amazing thing, I have to say. It's a gift that I was born with that I love. And it helps me, you know, just put things out there that people don't know about.
Yeah.
Or any way that I can help give back. So that's a big, big part of it as well.
That's wonderful. I love hearing things like that.
Yeah, Kat, it was amazing talking to you. You're such an amazing personality. Are you a motivational speaker? Because you should be.
I do things here and there. I have spoken on stages, and I love sharing my positive message, sharing positive energy, whether it's on stage or, you know, this type of setting where I'm a guest. But I do a lot of things on the back end. I send not random, I mean, they're intentional, but I will reach out to people like, hey, how are you? Or sending them really good messages and doing things like that people need.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Sprinkling my fairy dust.
It's a beautiful way to say it, especially because you're in the fashion industry. So I understand what you mean by that.
Yes.
For the swimwear. But we're so excited. You know, I'm so excited to have you here today. You're an amazing person. You're doing so much for everyone, and it's your turn now. You're giving back for the holidays, which is beautiful. So I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
If you can give out where people can find you on social media, or if you have a website.
So there's one of two ways. You can text AMEN, AMEN, to 55678, and that'll take you to all of my socials. Or you can go on Instagram and search Kat Oshman by my name. Not everybody has Instagram, so they can find me other ways if they text AMEN to that number.
That's beautiful. I love that you chose Amen.
Oh, let me share with you why.
Yes, that's what I was hinting at.
So, aside from it happens to be kind of like a spiritual context, AMEN stands for my women's group that we are soft launching soon. And it's called Amplified Moms Empowerment Network. So that's what AMEN stands for.
That's
Isn't that awesome?
gorgeous. That's very beautiful and gorgeous.
So can I get an amen?
Amen!
Exactly.
I was going to say that's beautiful because the empowerment that you'll have behind the scenes, whether being a mom or just a fashion designer in the industry, is so big compared to our generation and your generation of people out there that are still very scared to try on clothes in public, purchase clothes online, and just start to feel comfortable in their skin again. I told you it's very hard right now in the generations. It's like
yes, and you know, there's a lot of noise that's happening externally, but if we can surpass the noise that we tell ourselves in our minds, we can accomplish so many things together, like a lot of beautiful things together, and that's my passion. So rather than me living in my own bubble and doing my thing, I'm being called to serve and put myself out there. So it's not always easy, even though I seem like I have a lot of confidence. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's do this.
She's like, I got to get ready for an interview. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Well, like I said, it was an honor meeting you. Any way I can help you out, please let me know. Reach out to Chris, even if it's anything, for the designs. I'd love to. And it was great meeting you. I hope we can work together sometime.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thanks, Dr.
I wanted to say something to you when we go, so just hold on.
Thank you all so much. Have a good rest of your night, and happy Thanksgiving. That is this Thursday. Have a good Thanksgiving as well, Kat.
Thank you.